Good evening, I'm Troy Charles. Thanks for being here, and here are your top stories. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit has declared an outbreak on the 4th floor at Hogarth Riverview Manor long-term care home. Recent testing showed a staff member to be positive for COVID-19. Provincial guidelines call for an outbreak declaration in long-term care homes when one staff or resident is found to be positive. At this time, no other residents or staff members have been identified as having symptoms. The health unit is also reporting 3 new cases of COVID-19, with 1 currently hospitalized. A woman in her 70s from the Thunder Bay area is currently in hospital, but it is not clear if the individual is hospitalized for COVID symptoms or another reason. The second case is a woman in her 40s and is currently self-isolating. The final new case is a man in his 30s from a First Nation community and is also self-isolating. The exposure category for all 3 cases is still pending. The current number of cases in the region now stands at 74, with 18 cases still active and 55 considered resolved. 1 man has passed away due to complications from the virus. Meanwhile, high gas prices faced by those here in Thunder Bay and other northern communities have become an issue. The disparity in fuel prices between the north and the rest of the province is a problem, according to Premier Doug Ford.
Well, we have our Minister of Energy, Greg Rickford, all over this. It's totally unfair that you're paying 90 some odd cents in Thunder Bay and Kenora and other places, but in urban areas you're paying 70 cents. Are the gas companies just trying to gouge people? Well, we're going to get an explanation off the gas companies for this, because it's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. People are paying 20-30% more in Thunder Bay and Kenora and other regions. But we'll get down to the bottom of this. I promise you. We're already all over this.
As the reality of the pandemic set in and time spent at home increased, many individuals turned to the bottle. Alcohol consumption across the province has skyrocketed, but some officials are concerned it could carry over into post-pandemic life. CTV's Krista Sharp has the details.
Behind some of these online memes poking fun at increased drinking during self-isolation are some sobering statistics. According to a recent Nanos poll commissioned by the Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction, since the pandemic began, 25% of respondents between 35 and 54 say they have started drinking more.
3 reasons that we see are a change in routine, stress, and boredom. So about 51% of the people who have increased their drinking reported that a change in routine was driving it.
The Liquor Control Board of Ontario says sales increased significantly late March.
A couple of bottles of wine, maybe some ciders.
Many customers buying in bulk.
Drinking more during quarantine?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Just there's a lot less things to do.
Dial a Bottle franchisee Veronica Calvaregas picking up client orders.
We do have a lot of regular customers, but we also have a lot of new customers too. Like a lot of new customers.
She's hired 7 new employees in the last month and needs more.
Actually, ever since the quarantine, business has been just like crazy.
But for those who may be over-consuming,
we had so many hits on our website that it crashed.
This Kitchener-Waterloo Alcoholics Anonymous spokesperson says they are still available online and on the phone.
There's always hope. I was at a meeting recently, a new gentleman was saying that he felt like he picked the worst time to get sober. And what I said to him was, the worst time to get sober is tomorrow. Right now is always a good time to get sober.
So we know that alcohol is habit forming. And so for a lot of people, once they come out of the pandemic, they might feel like they're sort of drawn to keep drinking. So that's what worries us.
The LCBO says sales have now started to return to normal. If you feel that you need to speak to a professional, you are encouraged to do so. Multiple links can be found on our website. Krista Sharp, CTV News.
Anishinaabe police were involved in a shooting this past Thursday in the First Nation territory of Fort Severn. An adult male engaged in a life-threatening altercation with an officer who responded with the discharging of a police firearm. The male was injured and fled the scene and was later taken into custody with the help of OPP. The individual was taken to a nursing station and has since been transported out of Fort Severn with serious but stable injuries. NAPS have begun an investigation into the matter with the help of OPP. Without a dedicated shelter in Fort Frances, the Rainy River District Social Services Board has had to turn to a local business to house their homeless population during the pandemic. This means that people living on the street will not only have a roof over their head, but access to all the information and supports they need at this time while lessening the spread of COVID-19 in the community. Corey Nordstrom reports.
How does a homeless person shelter in place when they don't have any place to be?
That was the question Dan McCormick and the Rainy River DSAB had to answer, and they found a solution with the Sleepy Owl, a hotel in the heart of Fort Frances' downtown where they can house the 10 to 12 individuals nightly.
It's centrally located, but you also have individual rooms with full washrooms. We have facilities here to do the laundry, so it makes it self-contained. We did take over the top floor, which is 14 rooms.
While those people appreciate having a room with accommodations to themselves, housing lead Sandra Weir says it's also important that they add a teaching element to the situation.
We're doing the daily reminders, the sanitizing, the washing, the cleaning, the maintaining, so that they're reminded every day of what's really going on out there with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Members of the OPP's Mobile Crisis Response Team, alongside workers from the Northwestern Health Unit, are also passing information along to people on the streets during regularly scheduled patrolling. Weir also hopes that they can help these individuals move on to a better situation in the long run.
We're also trying to bring in services that can also help support them for the next steps. Right now, the Sleepy Owl is temporary, right? So what we're trying to do is find out what the issues are, if there's a way that we can help and support them, if there's applications that need to be filled out for housing, where things are with that.
Right now, we have a contract with the Sleepy Owl till May 15th. Depending on what happens with the emergency order with the province, we do have the opportunity to extend easily till the end of May. And then if we had to go beyond that, we'd have to look for other solutions.
Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
Officials with Riverside Healthcare in the Rainy River District are making sure their long-term care residents are safe from COVID-19 following the advice from Premier Doug Ford. Testing began at the seniors facility located within the Rainy River Hospital more than a week ago before moving east with testing in Emo and Fort Frances. In total, all of the 160-plus residents have been tested, in addition to all staff at the long-term care home. And all tests came back negative. Riverside has also begun full staff testing at their 3 hospitals in the district, with over 250 being done at this point. Riverside spokesperson Catherine Puros says now is the best time to make sure staff and residents are safe.
There have been only 2 reported cases in the west end of the district. This is a time to advance and mature Riverside's proactive approach. We are combining current symptomatic testing with asymptomatic surveillance testing for our residents, inpatients, and staff across facilities. This is an added preventative measure to curb the spread of COVID-19 and expand protections for everyone.
Final phase will see community workers being tested, which has already begun. Riverside expects to test all of their over 600 staff by May the 8th. The former owner of a funeral home in the town of Emo has been charged with fraud among a number of other offenses. Rainy River District OPP began an investigation in June of 2018, uncovering the fraudulent use of over $90,000 associated with a not-for-profit in Emo. 47-year-old Jason Lilly was also charged with both fraud and theft over $5,000, in addition to forgery and other crimes. He will appear in court on June 22nd. A house in the city's north end has suffered serious damage after apparently being struck by a vehicle. Contractors were repairing the damaged front end of a house on Country Boulevard. Reports on social media suggest the house was struck by a vehicle early this morning. A hydro pole in front of the house was also heavily damaged. Thunder Bay Police have yet to comment on the situation. Hard work and determination is paying off for a graduating student from St. Ignatius High School. She's getting a chance to chase her dream thanks to a generous scholarship. 18-year-old Chiara Berganini put in a lot of work and effort throughout her high school years, and now it has literally paid off. This past week, she was announced as a recipient of an $80,000 scholarship from the Schulich Leader Program. She's choosing to use it to attend Dalhousie University in Halifax, where she will study for her Bachelor's of Science. When Berganini found out she was one of the 100 winners of the scholarship, she says she was in disbelief.
When I first got the email, I saw it and I was like, no way. I phoned my mom and I said, I think I won, but I'm not too sure. I had to read it like 10 times. I'm like, no, I did win. Now, I was overwhelmed with excitement. I'm really excited. It's a bit nerve-wracking that I'm so far away from home, but definitely excited to meet new people and just be in a total different community.
Despite the COVID pandemic, Berganini is optimistic that she will be able to attend the school come September, but she also says she wouldn't be opposed to spending a little more time at home if universities are still teaching online. Now it's time on the desk here with the good friend Mike Mohorvich. Mike, once again, the NFL has given us that little sliver of news.
Next week, they're going to release their schedule, and all reports suggest that you may be surprised with how it's all going to frame out. More after that.